Hello, my name is Juan Marino. I'm a graduate research assistant with the Pollution Prevention Team at West Virginia University. In this video, I'll be walking you through the fundamentals of the REAP grant, a USDA program designed to help rural small businesses and agricultural producers reduce their energy costs through energy efficiency improvements or renewable energy projects. Whether you're a business owner or someone assisting with the application process, this video is meant to guide you step by step. You don't need a background in grants or federal programs. I'll keep it straightforward. I'll cover what the REAP grant is, who is eligible, how to begin the process, and the types of support that are available. My goal is to make this information accessible and useful, especially for those who may be new to the grant application process. Here's the overview. I'll start by explaining what REAP is, then talk about eligibility, what projects qualify, and how to get funding, including grants and loan guarantees. I'll also touch on the application timeline and where to go if you need help. The Rural Energy for America program, or REAP, offers grant funding and guaranteed loans. It's specifically for rural small businesses and agricultural producers. You can apply to fund energy efficiency upgrades or renewable energy systems, things like better lighting, HVAC systems, equipment upgrades, and more. There are several important steps. First, check if you're eligible. Then if you're doing an energy efficiency project, you will need an energy audit. After that, get quotes for your project. Register with sam.gov to get your unique entity ID, or UEI, and complete the required forms. Finally, submit your application before the deadline. So who is eligible? If you're a small business located in a rural area or an agricultural producer making at least 50% of your income from your operation, you can apply. That includes private for profits like sole proprietors and corporations, cooperatives, rural electric utilities, and tribal entities. The key is you must meet the SBA, which stands for Small Business Administration, size standards and have no outstanding federal debts or judgments. Now, a quick note on location. Small businesses must be in rural areas with populations under 50,000. And if you're in West Virginia, you're covered. If you're an agricultural producer, your project doesn't have to be in a rural area as long as it supports your production. Scan this QR code to check if you're eligible for REAP grant and for eligible rural areas. Let's talk about funding. For energy efficiency projects, you can receive between $1,500 and $500,000. For renewable energy projects, between $2,500 and $1 million. The REAP grant can cover up to 50% of eligible project costs. If you combine it with a loan guarantee, that could bring total support up to 75%. Remember, some of this may change depending on USDA updates, so always double check the latest guidance. You can use these funds to install energy efficient upgrades like HVAC systems, insulation, lighting, refrigeration, better doors and windows, or replacing inefficient equipment. The funds can also cover renewable energy systems like solar panels, wind turbines, hydropower, biomass, geothermal, and even ocean energy systems. Both small and large-scale systems can be eligible. Loan fees apply if you're interested in taking a loan guarantee. There's an upfront fee of 1% and an annual retention fee of 0.25% on the remaining loan amount. Other fees depend on your lender. Interest rates are set between you and your lender. They can be fixed or variable. Just know that if it's variable, the rate can only change once per quarter, not more than that. A couple of rules. If you're applying as an individual, you must be a U.S. citizen or legal resident. If it is a business entity, the project has to be based in the U.S. and the money must stay in the U.S. Some projects, like the ones that are zero emission or located in energy communities, may qualify for the full 50% grant. Others are capped at 25%. You will also need matching funds if applying for a grant, and your project must use reliable, proven technology. Remember, grant percentages eligible amounts, and deadlines are subject to change. Always check the USDA REAP website or reach out to us directly if you have any questions. If you're applying for energy efficiency improvements, you'll need an energy audit. That means assessing how much energy your building or equipment uses now and where savings can happen. You must use a certified provider, like someone listed through the Department of Energy. Our pollution prevention WVU team offers these audits for $250 or less, and they meet all REAP guidelines. Before you apply, you need to register your business at sam.gov. This is required for all federal funding. You'll receive a UEI, which is part of the registration. Here's the process. First, go to www.sam.gov and create an account. Then register your business. During that process, you will be assigned your UEI. Submit your information and make sure to keep it updated. Start this step early. It can take several weeks to process. Double check your business name, your tax identification number, and your address. Make sure everything matches. And if you run into any problems, use the help section or reach out for support. Now, before we wrap up this introductory video, let's go over the main forms you will need to submit when applying for the REAP grant. First, there's Form 4280, which comes in 3 versions depending on your project size. 4283A is for projects under $80,000. 4283B is for projects between $80,000 and $200,000. 4283C is for projects over $200,000. This is your main REAP application, and the version you use depends entirely on your total project cost. You will also need to submit the SF 424, which is the standard federal assistance application form. Form 424C, which outlines your project's budget. Form 424D, which confirms that your project complies with federal construction standards. And the environmental checklist, which helps USDA assess the environmental impact of your project. All of these forms are available online as PDFs. Thanks for watching this introduction. In the next video, we'll walk you through the specific forms and supporting documents depending on your project size. In this section, I will go over how to complete Form SF-424 for a REAP application of less than $200,000 but more than $80,000. This example is for a CNC machine replacement and operator training. To get started, in Field 1, check Application if this is your official submission. Only check Change or Correct It if you're resubmitting an updated version. For Field 2, mark New for a first-time request. If it's a revision or a continuation of a previous application, indicate so and specify the reason with the appropriate letter codes. Field 3 and 4, leave these blank. Rural development staff will fill in the date for you. You may use an internal ID in the applicant identifier box if needed, but it's optional. Leave field 5A and 5B blank for a new application. Only fill them if this is a revision or a continuation of an existing award. Field 6 and 7, these are fields completed by the state. You do not need to fill anything in here. For field 8A, enter your business legal name, exactly as it appears in your sam.gov registration. It must match IRS records. For field 8B and C, provide your employer identification number and your unique entity ID for from sam.gov. Both of these are required. For field 8D, enter your business address, including SIP +4 postal code. If you don't have a SIP +4 postal code, enter 4 zeros in that section. Field 8E is optional. You can include your department name if applicable, such as facilities or energy projects. In field 8F, enter the name and contact details of the person responsible for the application. Make sure the phone and email are accurate. In field 9, select your applicant type. For example, if you're applying as a private business, choose R for small business. In field 10, enter Rural Business Cooperative Service, USDA. In field 11, enter 10.868 for the REAP program. And the CFDA title is Rural Energy for America program. In field 12, enter the funding opportunity number as it is shown in the slide. The title is Rural Energy for America program. Field 13 can be left blank unless your state office has specified otherwise. Field 14 is intended for use only by programs for which the area affected is likely to be different than the place of performance reported. In field 15, write a clear and descriptive project title. In our case, CNC machine installation and operator training at XYZ Machine Company. Attach any supporting documents if appropriate. In field 16, enter the state and district of your business, such as WV002. Use the same code for both 16A and 16B. Attach any additional list of program, project, congressional districts if needed. In field 17A and 17B, enter your planned start and end dates. Make sure they fall within the current REAP funding window. In box 18A through G, you need to enter the grant amount you're requesting. Use these other boxes to show matching funds from you or other sources. The total here must reflect your full project cost. For field 19, check box C. The REAP program is not subject to Executive Order 1237-2. For field 20, answer truthfully. If your business is not behind any federal debts, select No. The person legally authorized to submit this application signs here. Include full contact details and ensure the authorization is on file. Double check all information. Make sure your business name, your UEI, and project title match across all forms. Use black ink or type text and avoid leaving required fields blank. Now we will discuss Form 4283D, required for REAP projects with total costs of less than $200,000 but more than $80,000. I'll walk you through each section, specifically for a CNC machine replacement project. In field 1A, list the applicant's legal name, which should match block 8A of Form SF 424. In field 1B, indicate the race of the applicant. In field 1C and 1D, indicate the gender and ethnicity of the applicant. In field 1E, check if the applicant is a veteran. In field 1F, indicate if the applicant is a member of a socially disadvantaged group. Field 2 is where the applicant must provide the title of their project, which is same as stated in the form SF424. In our case, the title of the project is Replace CNC units with higher efficiency units, and this matches form SF424. In field 3, provide your UEI, your unique entity identifier. This number you got after SAM registration. In field 4, provide the name of the person who would be accepting or distributing federal funds from the grant. In field 5, the applicant must indicate the type of business they own, if it's an agricultural producer or rural small business, and also provide NAICS code and size limitation. In field 6A, the applicant must describe the project's relationship to the applicant's operations. Describe how the project fits into or operates separately from the applicant overall business or agricultural production operation. So for example, the applicant controls full ownership of the machine shop during the upgrade of the CNC machine, which directly enhances the manufacturing of parts, thereby saving cost and energy in the shop. In field 6B, explain how the applicant owns the project and or controls the site of the project. You can say something like, the applicant owns both the project and the site, maintaining full control over operations. Ownership will continue through the project lifespan. Field 6C, describe for each entity the applicant controls or is controlled by, provide a list of owners with contact information. In field 6D, indicate if the applicant is a tribal entity owned or operated by a federally recognized tribe. If so, state the name of the tribe and where the project will take place. In field 7, you must identify the type of energy project being funded. If your project is an energy efficiency improvement project, check box 7A. If your project is a renewable energy system that does not emit greenhouse gases, check the respective box. If your project is a renewable energy system that emits greenhouse gases, check the respective box. And if your project is a hybrid type of 2 or more technologies supporting a single system, select technologies above and give a short description of how they work together. In field 7E, briefly explain what the project does. Mention location, scope, and benefit. For example, the project aims to replace the actual CNC machine with a more energy efficient model. This will reduce the annual energy consumption by approximately 4,000 kilowatt hours and save over $2,000 in costs. This facility sources electricity from Appalachian Power under the General Service Rate Schedule 261. In field 7F, describe what will be installed or constructed. In our case, the project includes procurement, installation, and commissioning of the new CNC machine, ensuring compliance with safety standards. Training will be provided to operators and installation will be completed as per facility schedule. The initiative meets public safety and industry regulations, with all the required permits and codes followed. In field 7G, briefly describe the main equipment being installed and its purpose. In our case, the Puma G73 CNC machine, certified by industry organizations, will replace the existing units for improved efficiency. It includes electrical components, cooling systems, and software interfaces with manufacturer warranties. In field H, 1, list the major construction-related costs, such as equipment, labor, and other project expenses. List total project cost and grant request. Make sure you break down costs into materials, labor, and equipment. You must use the same numbers as in the Form SF-424C, Budget Information Construction Program. Include costs incurred after the full application is submitted, and provide details for any known ineligible cost. This could be feasibility studies, research and development costs, admin expenses, among others. This section is only applicable to renewable energy systems. For energy efficiency projects, you are required to calculate simple payback. This is total project cost over annual energy cost savings. And this will be calculated in section 8F. In section 7G of the form, the applicant must provide all the information about the service providers that will be working to construct and install the project, such as energy auditor, site assessor, contractor, installer, electrician, just to name a few. In this section of the form, the applicant must prove the qualifications of the service provider by either attaching the resume or filling in the information below. This section is only applicable to renewable energy system. The applicant must provide a technical report as directed by and CFR 4280. In field 9, the applicant must fill in the existing usage of energy from the energy assessment or audit they received from the energy auditor team. Make sure you list current energy use and costs, which this will be your energy baseline. All amounts should be typed in their respective unit. In field 9B, the applicant must fill in the proposed energy usage in kilowatt hours as provided in the energy audit. This section of the application usually gets completed on its own from all the information provided prior to this section. If not, just follow the instructions on the slide notes using the information from the energy assessment report and fill it out. In field 10, the applicant must disclose if any farmland is being converted. If yes, provide the size of the farmland in acres. Answer if the project contribute to deforestation or fire hazards. Also answer if the project conserves water and explain how much. Here, indicate if the project complies with Environmental Protection Agency renewable fuel standards. Also, indicate if at least 25% of the project components are bio-based. In field 11, the applicant must disclose all the source of funds for the project, including own funds, and if they have taken any loans. In field 12, the applicant must disclose any relationship with any employee of rural development staff. Here, indicate if you have received any previous funding under the REAP program. And check the box to certify whether the applicant is in good standing or not. Confirm that all USDA REAP program requirements are met by checking each box. By checking certification A, it means you are either an agricultural producer earning over 50% of your gross income from agricultural operations, or a rural small business as defined by SBA size standards. Certification B is for energy efficiency improvements. The project must reduce energy use compared to the existing equipment or building. In Certification C, you are certifying that the project will use only commercially available technology. In Certification D, this is about not starting anything before the USDA gives the green light. If you do, you could lose eligibility. This checkbox, Certification E, certifies that the applicant meets a simplified application criteria for projects with total project costs of more than $200,000 but less than $80,000. In box F, you're certifying that you or your contractor are fully responsible for managing and funding the project, including during construction. USDA won't oversee that part. The applicant here is certifying that the construction planning and project development will follow USDA's regulations. Here in box H, the applicant agrees not to request any grant funds until the project is fully completed and functioning as intended. Here, the applicant certifies that they will maintain the insurance required by USDA. And check box J to confirm that the equipment for the project is available, can be purchased and delivered on time, and will be installed according to the manufacturer's specifications. Certification K is about certifying that the project will be constructed following all applicable laws, regulations, permits, codes, and standards. Certification L. Here, the applicant agrees to follow USDA's procurement guidelines, which require open and fair competition when selecting vendors or contractors. Here, the applicant confirms that the project will comply with equal employment opportunity requirements. Certification N applies only to bioenergy projects and does not apply to typical energy efficiency improvements. So this box N, should not be checked. Here, the applicant must attach all the necessary documents listed and check all the boxes, all the appropriate boxes. This section is where the applicant certifies that all the information and the documentation submitted is accurate and complete. It confirms compliance with the conditions outlined in sections 12 through 16 of the application. In this section, I will walk you through the environmental checklist form that's part of the REAP application. This checklist ensures our project complies with environmental requirements under USDA guidelines. Let's go step by step through this form. Field 1 and 2 ask for the applicant's name and the exact physical location of the project. It must include the full address, latitude and longitude coordinates, and a legal description like a tax map or a parcel number to ensure proper environmental assessment. This section is to confirm that photos and a site map are attached. These should clearly show the building and its exact location. If there's any trenching or electrical work involved, it should be marked on the map using tools like Google Maps or GIS software. In Field 4, briefly describe what the funds will be used for. Say exactly what's being upgraded and where. If it's only interior work with no ground disturbance, make sure you make that clear. In Field 5, you need to indicate the size of the project and its impact on the site, including roads, rights-of-ways, utilities, or other impacts, if any. In Field 6 and 6A, check no if the project does not involve construction or changes to land. Provide land ownership and describe how it is currently used and what is around it, if applicable. In field 6B, if the project involves digging or ground disturbance, please explain what kind and include if the project site was previously disturbed. In field 7, write the official zoning designation for your property. This can be found on your local county or city zoning map or by calling your planning office. In field 8, enter the age of the building. In field 9, indicate if the project is near a structure that is at least 50 years old. If you're unsure about this, use Google Earth or your local property records website to check for nearby construction dates. Then in field 10, select yes if your building or site is officially listed on the state or national register of historic places. And if yes, attach documentation. In field 11, answer yes only if the building is over 50 years old, near a historic site, or on the register, and you have State Historic Preservation Office approval. If no, check no and move on. In field 12, if tribes or tribal historic preservation officers have been contacted, make sure you check yes. Attach any documentation and summarize any responses in the box. If no, check no and move on. In field 13, check if the project is within a designated historic district. Attach any supporting documentation and summarize feedback or approval. If no, check no and move on. For field 14, go to the IPAC website, generate a report for your project location, and attach the report to your application. After seeing your report, check yes if there are any threatened or endangered species or critical habitats within the area, and please briefly explain in the box below. Mark yes in field 15 if the project will involve cutting or trimming any trees. Make sure you give detail in the box, and if no, check no and move on. If yes was selected in previous question, and if applicable, confirm whether tree clearing can avoid critical timeframes for wildlife. If no, explain briefly and move on. Here, check yes if the project is near or may affect a wetland. If yes, attach a wetlands map. If no, just check and move on. You can use the mapper at fws.gov/wetlands/data/mapper, or you can go to the web soil survey. If you said yes to 16, note if permits are issued. Attach any documentation. And if no, just check no and move on. Check yes in field 17 if your project is in or near 100 or 500-year floodplain. You can use the FEMA map or check the web soil survey, and make sure you attach documentation. For field 18, check yes if the project is near parks, monuments, landmarks, wild scenic rivers, or protected lands. If yes, attach a map and explain in 18A whether a land agency was contacted. And if no, check the box and continue. If you're an inland project, you can check no in field 19 and move on. Check yes in field 20 if the project is on or near prime, important, or unique farmland. You can use the web soil survey or the FPPA guidance that's available from NRCS. For field 20A, enter yes if the NRCS has completed a land evaluation site assessment or an LESA for the site, and attach any documentation. For field 20B, answer yes if the project helps or save offset energy use for a farm or agricultural producer, and make sure you attach the letter. In field 21, mark yes if the project involves storing, processing, or disposing of hazardous materials. This is waste, incineration, recovery, and briefly describe materials and the process involved. Check yes if a Phase 1 ESA has been completed. This is typically needed if loan is over $100,000 and the agency will hold real estate as collateral, an attached document. If no, check no and move on. In field 23, check yes if hazardous substances or petroleum have been released on the property, and make sure you explain. If no, check the box and continue. Check yes in field 24 if there's an underground tank on the property and describe the tank. If no, check no and continue. In field 25, mark yes if any above ground storage tanks are on the property. If yes, check if they're in secondary containment. If no, check the box and move on. Here, in field 26, mark yes if the project could emit or release hazardous materials like pollutants, petroleums, contaminants, or natural gas without permits. If yes, explain what and how in the box. If no, check the box and move on. In field 27, mark yes if the project involves new construction and may affect aquifers, wellhead protection areas, or watershed protection areas. If yes, describe what resources impacted and how. If no, just check no and continue. Here, answer yes if you're aware of any environmental concerns, opposition, or disputes related to the project. If yes, please briefly explain the concern, and if no, just check and proceed. In field 29, check yes if the project might negatively impact minority or low-income communities. Note here, the tool, EPA EJ screen, nor the USDA policy are available. In field 30, mark yes if the facility is connected to a municipal wastewater system. If no, describe the existing on-site system and its capacity. Now, mark yes if the facility is connected to a municipal water system. If no, describe the on-site water system and its capacity. In field 32, check yes if the county is in non-attainment or maintenance status per EPA air quality standards. Use an EPA Assist or the EPA Green Book to confirm. Here, enter your full name and title. Add the date the form is completed. Signature can be typed or handwritten, depending on submission requirements. Now we will go over 424C Budget Information Form for construction programs. This form breaks down all project costs and how we categorize them for the REAP grant. Line 1 is administrative and legal expenses. These cover costs like legal services or admin support. For this project, we didn't have any, so it's 0. Line 2 is land, structures, right-of-way, appraisals, etc. This refers to buying land or rights to use land. Since this is only a machine upgrade and it's inside an existing building, no land-related costs apply. Line 3 is for relocation expenses and payments. This would apply if any people or businesses had to move, but it is not relevant here. Line 4 is for architectural and engineering fees. These cover design services. Since we're just replacing a machine, no engineering work is really required. Line 5 is for other other architectural fees. Things like energy modeling or third-party reviews will go here. Again, not needed for our case. Line 6 is project inspection fees. These are used if a formal inspection is required. We didn't have this for the CNC machine upgrade project, so we can leave this as blank, as zeros. Line 7 is site work. That means grading, excavation, or paving. No outdoor work in this case, so we can leave this as zeros. Line 8 is demolition and removal. This applies if we tore anything down. Nothing was demolished in our project, so this can be left as zeros. Line 9 is construction. This includes labor. The installation cost will be included here, if any. Line 10, equipment. This line covers the cost of materials or equipment. We spent $135,000 on this new CNC machine. Line 11 is miscellaneous. This is a catch-all for small costs that don't fit elsewhere. Line 12, subtotal. This is the total of all direct costs from lines 1 through 11. Ours comes down to be $149,000. Line 13 is for contingencies. These are funds reserved for unexpected costs. We didn't include any for our project. Line 14 is subtotal. The full cost of the project, including contingency, if any. Still $149,000 for us. Line 15, project income. If the project generates money during construction, listed here. In our case, it's not applicable. Line 16, total project cost. This is your final project cost after subtracting any project income. Still $149,000. And lastly, line 17, federal assistance requested. We are requesting a grant of 50% of total costs. Take line 16C and multiply it times 50%. That comes out to be $74,500 for this project. Note here, REAP grants typically cover up to 25 or 50% of eligible costs, depending on the project type and funding round. Double check what percentage applies before submitting. In this section, we will go over Form 424D. This is the Assurances for Construction Programs. It is required when applying for federal funding that involves any kind of construction or installation work, like lighting upgrade, for example. It lists the federal laws and regulations that your project needs to follow. You're not filing anything outline by line here, just signing to confirm that you understand and agree to comply with those rules if your project is approved. The first field is for the signature of the authorized certifying official. This should be someone with the legal authority to make commitments on behalf of your business or organization. It's usually the same person who signs the main application form, SF 424. Next is the title field, where you input the job title of the person signing the form, like owner, CEO, president, or similar. Applicant organization field. This must exactly match the name of the business or applicant shown in field 8A of your SF 424 form. If submitted through grants.gov, the form is signed electronically upon submission. The last required field is the date submitted. Enter the same date your application package is submitted. Make sure all these fields are accurate because this form confirms your compliance with federal construction regulations. Now, we will cover how USDA evaluates REAP applications. After initial screening for completeness, your project is scored based on a 100-point system. Here's how those points break down. Energy generated, saved, or replaced, 25 points. Previous REAP funding history, 15 points. Length of payback period, 15 points. Location in a disadvantaged or distressed area, 15 points. Your share of matching funds, 10 points. Environmental benefits, 10 points. Discretionary points from the state director, 10 points. These scores determine your project's competitiveness, so keep them in mind when preparing your application. Once applications are scored, a review committee ensures fairness and consistency. From there, the highest scoring projects are selected for funding. USDA also tries to balance funding across sectors and regions. Timing-wise, application processing usually takes 30 to 90 days after the submission window closes. Once selections are made, you will be notified of the outcome within 30 days. So expect the full process to take around 2 to 4 months from the date you submit. Here are some helpful resources to support your application. The REAP Application Process Guide, USDA's How-To series, Energy Investment Map and Energy Matrix, vendor certification templates for renewable and energy efficiency projects, the map tool to check if your location qualifies as disadvantaged or distressed. All of these links can clarify the application steps and make sure you're checking all the boxes. If you need help with your application, you can reach out to our WVU Pollution Prevention Team. We provide low to no cost assistance with energy assessments and REAP applications. Contact Dr. Ashish Limbarte or Dr. Christopher Moore by email. We have officially completed the REAP application walkthrough series. If you have followed along, you should now have all the forms filled out and know what attachments are needed. Thanks for watching, and remember, double check your entire application packet before submission. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.